The three most important skills: rolling the ball the correct distance, green reading, and starting the ball on line. One of the keys to rolling the ball the correct distance is to hit it where there's no backspin. So we want overspin. Sometimes neutral spin's okay. It would depend a little bit on the greens that you're playing on. If every time we step, every time we walk, we're making a footprint. Dave Pelz was a legendary putting coach way back when, and he actually did some analysis, and every time someone stepped on the green, it would actually take about approximately 24 hours is what they found out for a footprint to come back and make the green flat. So every time you step, hundreds and hundreds of people have stepped on the green, maybe stepped in your line, there's going to be footprints. You've got to get the ball up in the air, out of that footprint, and get it rolling. And if you want to go from a complete science, a complete physics standpoint, the weight of that ball is going to make an indentation in the green. So we've got to get the ball up in the air slightly, above these footprints, traveling a little bit, and then rolling end over end. If you actually have too much overspin, it could actually hit the front of the footprint. If this is the indentation in the green, the ball's sitting here, and you have too much overspin, it could actually hit the front of the footprint and actually start bouncing, which is not what you would actually want and contrary to what you'd think. That's why it's important to get the ball up in the air slightly above it and then start rolling end over end. So to do that, what do we want? We want a slightly upward angle of attack. If we want to get the ball up, we've got to hit slightly up. So remember, if we want to get that upward angle of attack, if we're playing table tennis, if we're playing tennis or anything like that, and we want to make the ball go up, we're going to make the racket go up in the air. Now, that doesn't determine whether it has backspin or forward spin. That's only half of the equation. So think again in table tennis. If we want to hit it with overspin, we've got to hit up, but which way is the racket pointed or the paddle pointed? It's actually pointed down. But so I've got the paddle pointed down, but I hit up, what happens? The ball rises and goes with overspin. That's sort of what we want to do with putting. If we think in terms of how you would create backspin, you would have the paddle this way. You would actually, if you wanted pure backspin, you would have the paddle pointed up and hit down. That's going to create backspin. However, there's a relationship between the angle of attack and the loft that I actually have. So I can actually hit up, but if I hit up 2 degrees, but I have 4 degrees of loft, I can still hit up and actually create backspin even though I'm swinging up. So again, there's a relationship between there. If the loft of this racket is the same as the angle of attack, I'm going to create neutral spin. If the loft of this racket is more than the angle of attack, I'm going to create backspin. If the loft of this racket is less than the angle that I have, I'm going to create topspin, I'm going to create overspin. So that's sort of what we're looking to do, because anytime you create backspin, again, the one skill that we're talking about in this particular tip is distance control. If I'm having backspin, it's not going to have very good distance control. I want the ball to roll end over end. So keep in mind, now that I have the putter in my hand, if I want to create neutral spin or overspin, I've got to have the putter de-lofted, and I've got to make this putter go slightly up in the air. That's why I'm going to put the ball slightly forward of center in my stance. If I put it forward of center, I'm automatically hitting up. And at address, you could forward press slightly. That's going to take a little bit of loft off of it. Now I'm already going to hit up a little bit. That's going to create that neutral spin. Anytime anyone hits more down or adds loft, that's when that ratio gets fluctuated. That's when you create backspin. Your distance control will not be very good. So again, with putting, I'm going to grip it in the palms. Remember, in the full swing, we want to grip it down here. We want some leverage. We want to create some leverage. We want to create some speed. We don't need speed here. I'm going to grip it up in the lifeline of the left hand, the palm of the right hand. I'm going to put the ball, remember, slightly forward of center. Under my left eye is a good checkpoint. So if I did this, under my left eye would be a good checkpoint. That way I can see the same line as I'm trying to hit it on. If I'm too far inside and that putt's straight, I actually have to look to the right to see the hole, and I can get confused as to what the line actually is. If my eyes are outside the target line, I'm trying to make this ball go straight, I've actually got to visually look to the left to see the hole. And again, that can put some conflict between what I'm trying to do and what my eyes see and what I tell my mind. So Left eye over the ball. Remember, left eye over the ball gets the ball slightly forward of center. Good grip. My setup, my weight's going to be balanced. I don't want it on my toes. I don't want it on my heels. I want it balanced in the middle of my feet. Shoulders, hips, arms, eyes, pretty square. And again. So remember, hands a little forward to take away a little loft. Ball a little forward. That creates the upward angle of attack. That's how I'm going to create that nice true spin. And again, my distance control will be a lot better.